There have been many important cowboys as well as lawmen throughout the Wild Wild West. However, there hasn't been many that were as tough, relentless, and bulletproof like Bass Reeves. Here's a brief story on the heroic U.S. Marshal and real Lone Ranger, Bass Reeves. Beginning life as a slave, Bass Reeves would be born 1838 in Crawford County, Arkansas. His owner would be the Confederate Colonel William Reeves, where Bass would get his surname. When the Civil War broke out, Bass would be forced to accompany William's son, George. During this time, Bass Reeves would escape. Some say because he got in a fistfight with George during a card game, while other sources say because he heard about freedom. Either way, he would decide that being a runaway would be better than being a slave for the rest of his life. After escaping to the Indian Territory, he would be welcomed with open arms by the native tribes. There, he would quickly learn their languages as well as how they track, ride, and shoot like a pro. After the Civil War ended and slavery abolished, Bass would go on to start a family and live a more simpler life as a farmer. His life would completely change after 1875, however, to that of legend. In 1875, Judge Isaac Parker would hire him to be part of the 200 deputy marshals he was enlisting to tame the Indian country. Within the span of 32 years, Reeves would do a number of remarkable feats, using his strength, wit, and fortitude to capture over 3,000 outlaws by himself. One of his notable tells is when he was able to capture 2 outlaws who were hiding out in the cabin. In this story, he decided to use his wit and disguise himself as another fellow outlaw. He shot 3 holes into his hat and changed his attire to blend in and walked to the cabin he figured the criminals were hiding at. He would introduce himself to the female there and the brothers when they arrived, telling them how he barely escaped from the U.S. Marshals who shot 3 holes in his hat, and wanting to partner up. The outlaw brothers would be fascinated by his story and agreed to have him join them. When they all went to sleep that night, Bass crept into their room and handcuffed the 2 without either of them waking up. The next day, Bass would wake them up and send them marching back to the count for his $5,000 reward. In another more action-packed capture, Bass Reeves would be up against 3 outlaws who had the upper hand. In this story, after already being caught, Bass would leave his horse and go up to the posse, telling them who he was, a ranger out to arrest him. They would of course laugh, seeing as it's 3 against 1. However, Bass would have something up his sleeve. He would give the warrant to one of the outlaws for their arrest, and while they all looked at the paper and possibly laughing some more from the balls that this guy had, Bass in a matter of seconds would quickly kill 2 of the outlaws, shooting one while bashing the other with a pistol, all the while dodging any bullets shot his way. The 3rd outlaw would decide to surrender because he was smart. There's many more stories of Bass capturing outlaws that sound even more entertaining than this, but Bass would go on for 3 decades capturing all kinds of outlaws, including his son who had killed his wife while in a jealous rage. In 1907, Oklahoma would become a state, and so Jim Crow laws followed, disbanding black marshals from the service. The 70-year-old Reeves would then take up being a police officer before retiring and later dying in 1910, starting life as a slave to capturing and killing the most deadliest of outlaws. Bass would live his life with a powerful code, serving the law until death. Thanks guys for watching. So did you learn about Bass Reeves in school? I know I didn't, but after reading up on many of his stories, I got to say I think Django Unchained and the Lone Ranger movies took some pages from this man. Anyways guys, if you got some other cool or intriguing people throughout history, please feel free to leave a comment below. And also, if you like the vid, please feel free to hit that like button and subscribe to always stay updated for when new episodes are out.